Latin America, Mexico, Guadalajara, April the 21st, 1992. The tortilla shop on Rio Lagos Street suffers the full force of the blast. Her tortilla shop collapses on top of her. She's buried in the rubble. The blast tears underground along the sewer line. Guadalajara sits in a major earthquake zone. At the moment of the first explosion, scientists watching seismic monitors see them hit 3.3 on the Richter scale. This is the equivalent of over 13 tons of TNT exploding in one go. Could an earthquake with an epicenter over the district of Reforma have caused the tragedy? The devastated area looks like the aftermath of an earthquake, but the investigation teams study the damage. They quickly realize it runs in a continuous line following the path of the streets. An earthquake wouldn't do this, so the team dismissed the theory. In the 3 days leading up to the blasts, many of the residents complained about the smell of gasoline. There must be gasoline in the sewers. But where did it come from? Reforma is an industrial area. There are over 40 factories and chemical plants nearby. The biggest is a refinery run by the state-owned oil company Pemex. It becomes the focus for investigators. But they run straight into a mystery. At the time of the original complaints, Pemex management ran their own tests. Pemex officials say these tests reveal that all their plant and equipment is in perfect order, and they are not to blame. But they say their investigations do reveal the presence of another dangerous chemical in the sewer.
Pemex engineers came to the site. They commented, because of the characteristics of the explosions and the type of vapors that were found in the inspection holes, that this could be caused by a gas called hexane used in the cooking oil industry.
Hexane has many of the properties of gasoline, including a similar smell. Most importantly, it's an extremely flammable liquid that gives off a highly explosive vapor. And it has a very low flash point, only -22 degrees centigrade. Hexane is used to extract oil from seeds and vegetables to make cooking oil. Scott Steedman is a civil engineer specializing in disasters.
Hexane is a strong irritant, which means it causes lightheadedness, and its fumes are very toxic. It's also extremely flammable, and it's perhaps one of the last things you'd want in a sewer system.
Pemex officials then release a statement saying that a local cooking oil factory is responsible for releasing hexane gas underground. But the company La Central denies responsibility. They say they use very small quantities of hexane in their production process, not enough to cause the size of explosions that hit Reforma. Their claim is backed up by the investigation team, who examine water samples taken the day before the explosions. They find no evidence of hexane. It couldn't have caused the blast. Pemex's claim is inaccurate. The people of Reforma are still convinced gasoline is to blame. But the pressurized pipeline is made of steel. How could it fail? Guadalajara's underground network of pipes grew to service the booming economy. The result? A haphazard maze of overlapping pipes and cables carrying water and fuel. When the investigators dig down beneath the flooded pavement, they discover that a water pipe has been bent round the pressurized steel pipeline. At the point where they touch, there's a small hole where gasoline is leaking out. But how can the water pipe pierce the much tougher steel-reinforced gasoline pipeline? They send the pipes to Mexico's top metallurgists, Jorge Uruchoto and Jose Maria Malo, to try to find the answer. The metallurgists report that it's the different metal composition of the pipes that leads to their corrosion.
Different metals have different chemical compositions, and when they touch each other, certain metals, when touching other metals, can cause a chemical reaction to occur, and that can lead to corrosion, or one or both of the metals.
It's estimated that 600,000 liters of highly explosive gasoline leaked into the soil. That's about 18 petrol tankers, a huge amount of fuel. The leak in the gasoline pipeline is only meters away from one of Reforma's sewage tunnels. The fuel quickly spreads to surrounding soil and envelops the tunnel, seeping in through the cracks and entering the sewage system. But as if a contaminated sewer weren't bad enough, the leak seeps into the surrounding water pipes and enters Reforma's drinking water supply. They discover that Guadalajara has been extending its light railway system by adding a new underground line. But engineers digging the new subway have hit a problem. The city's main sewer lies right in their path.
Construction of a new metro line meant they had to divert the main sewer down and then up again, forming a U-bend under the metro line.
Investigators then work out that the pattern of explosions spreads south from where the sewer is diverted around the subway tunnel. It's a strong lead, and the design of the diverted sewage tunnel now becomes the focus of the investigation. Sewers are traditionally built with a slope so that gravity carries the waste downhill. But the building of the new metro has forced the new section of sewage tunnel to pump its contents uphill. The pumps are designed only to drive liquid sewage. The dangerous gasoline fumes build up and remain.
Now this had very serious consequences because although fluid could pass down through the U-bend and out the sewer, fumes would be trapped upstream of the metro line.
Upstream of the metro line is Gante Street, and the blocked fumes back up all the way to there, filling the sewer network in between. The first explosion occurs 675 meters from where the sewer is diverted around the new subway line. It destroys 20th of November Street and the top of Gante Street. 10:10, a second massive explosion destroys much of Violeta Street. Two blasts at 11:30 devastate Rio Bravo and Rio Nilo. Then at 2:20 p.m., the sewer that crosses under Gonzales Gallo explodes. The high temperatures continued into the early hours of the morning of April the 22nd. As the heat permeates down into the drains, it makes the gasoline fumes rise in greater volume to the streets above. And they are now at flashpoint. All it needs now is a spark. Ironically, attempts by the Water Authority to investigate the smell may have triggered the blasts. On that day, gangs are at work across the city, lifting manhole covers to release fumes from the sewer. Metal struck by metal can cause a spark. Perhaps a workman jamming a crowbar into a manhole cover or dropping a cover back into a hole created that fatal spark.